Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the, I never remember the name of this thing. The pool, no, it's the NFL Pigskin Pick'em 2018 Week 8, I think is what we're covering here. Boy, I hope I got all that right. I am completely unprepared, and that's okay. It's been a busy week for me, but we have made time. We were going to record this Tuesday, but we got delays, and my guest said, no, we've got to talk before Week 9 happens. I said, okay, well, we're going to do it. So we have set aside a little slice of time right before the Saturday podcast deadline that I impose upon myself for this show. And I have brought on Jen Carlson, a person from my yesteryear, hanging out with me at the dorms at OU. You have come on here. You were all excited to talk some football. So are you ready to talk Week 8 of the NFL and the Pigskin Pick'em?
I totally am. I'm so excited.
Oh boy! So, have you been on a whole lot of podcasts before? I know I've listened to Matt.
Right? Yeah, Matt, my husband. He does like all the podcasts. He's on one called House of Gozer, where they talk about comic book stuff, pop culture things, and then we have mutual friends who host a radio show here in Columbus. And so every Sunday night they get somebody in with them. And so Matt goes on, and it's funny because I worked with these guys. I worked at a radio station in Columbus, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And so I worked with these guys at the radio station, and then they both left that radio station and went to 610 WTVN, which is the all talk channel. And so they host the show every Sunday night, and they always ask Matt to go on, but they would never ask me. And I'm like, hey, I'm the one who went to OU for this.
Exactly. So we're going to talk some NFL,
which I'm super jazzed for, because the NFL next to nail polish is like the greatest thing ever to me. So I'm a huge tomboy who loves to paint her nails. So yeah, let's do it.
All right. Very good. So, all right, the Pittsburgh Steelers always come up on my podcast, and I have to talk about them. I've got this past season has been rough, and we open up against the Steelers, the Cleveland Browns, by the way, open up against the Steelers with a tie.
That was the ugliest football game I had seen in years.
There was nobody wanted to win it.
No.
Every kicker just said, nope, not today. And it was sad. So we come to Week 8. The Pittsburgh Steelers welcome in the Cleveland Browns. We are definitely not putting up as much of a fight as we did in, Week 3, I think. You're a Steelers fan.
Yes.
Can you kind of give me an idea as to why you're a Steelers fan? How did that all come about?
So I grew up in a house where Cleveland is everything. My dad is from just outside of Cleveland, from Avon Lake. And so my brother and I grew up, and every Sunday it was Browns football, Browns football, Browns football. And I loved Marty Schottenheimer and I loved Bernie Kosar, but watching my father every year as the Browns would get murdered by John Elway and the Denver Broncos, it was just kind of it was disheartening. And the fumble and the drive happened, and my dad just became so angry. And I'm like, I don't want this in my life. And so I was probably 10 or 11 years old, and I decided, you know what, the Steelers, they always win. So I jumped on that bandwagon. My brother jumped on that bandwagon, but then he quickly jumped off, because that was around the time that the Cowboys became America's team.
Oh, yeah.
So he was a Cowboys fan, but I stuck true to the Steelers, and I've stuck true to them ever since. I don't hate the Browns. I don't dislike the Browns at all. I feel bad for the Browns. More so the Browns fans, because you guys, holy crap. You had to deal with Art Modell taking the team to Baltimore. And then you had to, Baltimore wasn't even 5 years into existing, and they win the Super Bowl. And it's just what in the world is going on?
Heartbreak.
And it was disgusting. And so it's I despise the Ravens. And not only just because they're technically the biggest rival to the Steelers, because the Browns rivalry kind of, isn't even existent anymore.
Not anymore. No.
And so I don't dislike the Browns. I want the Browns to do well, because I love the city of Cleveland. Like, I am a diehard Cavs fan. It sucks what's happening to them now, and I love the Tribe, but it's just like I needed something that would win. So when I was 10 or 11, that's how I became a Steelers fan. I have my group of friends here in Columbus. I am the only Steelers fan amongst my group of friends, and it's divided between the Bengals and the Browns. And I have a friend who I cannot watch Bengals games with. It's bad. It is so bad. And I despise the Bengals probably as much as I despise the Ravens.
Oh, boy.
So, yeah. Oh, they're nasty, dirty jerks. So, Vontaze Burfict can just go to hell.
This past week, though, we went into Pittsburgh, and then you destroyed the Cleveland Browns, including like 2 significant coaching positions decided to. Hugh Jackson and Todd Haley are now gone from the Cleveland Browns.
Let's start with Todd Haley, because Todd Haley, I hate Todd Haley. He ruined the Kansas City Chiefs. And then after he ruined the Kansas City Chiefs, the Pittsburgh Steelers decided, you know what, we're going to hire him. So he came in and he worked with the offense, and he just didn't do anything. He always seemed like he had some sort of ulterior motive, and it was to probably get Tomlin out of the job and move into his role. And so I was so happy that Todd Haley was told to leave at the end of last season. And then when I saw that they were bringing him on in Cleveland, I'm like, this is a horrible mistake they're making. And I don't know, did you watch Hard Knocks?
No, I've heard a lot about it, though. And apparently he was very, like, I don't know if I want to say
salty.
Yeah, that's a good word.
We can say salty. He is a salty individual. And he and Hugh Jackson were butting heads. He was butting heads with Greg Williams. I mean, it was clear in the preseason that this was not going to last. And the fact that they made it this far was kind of, I mean, it's kind of an accomplishment for them, but at the same time, it's just, he wasn't taking anything. And you can tell that there was discord between the two of them about Baker Mayfield. And that whole thing, though, with Hugh Jackson, and we're not going to start Baker right away. We're going to start at Tyrod. And that's just, I didn't agree with it from the get-go.
Yeah.
But I don't think Hugh should have had his job at the beginning of the season anyway. You went 1-31. Or whatever it was. How do you get to keep your job?
There were so many people that were really taken by surprise because, number one, he kept his job. Okay, I guess we'll go ahead and move past that. Then they win, which is, hey, the beers have been released,
right,
ladies and gentlemen. You're thinking, well, we've got nothing but positives coming out of this. At least the first 4 weeks, the Browns are keeping things close. And then I think something happened. Can't remember which game it was where we just didn't, we didn't practically show up at all. I know it wasn't the Saints game because we did decent there.
It was, it kind of all started going downhill. It was during that Oakland game where you guys went into overtime and there were all those horrible, questionable calls. And I think that's when things started really going off the rails.
And now the statement, I believe, was something like, we won't put up with discord in our coaching staff. And I'm like, well, apparently from Hard Knocks, again, I've never seen it, but my goodness, the people that have just briefly commented on it said that has been evident for quite a while. So, I don't understand why make the decision. I guess now is a good enough time. I have no idea. You're right. It should have been something that had been taken care of before the season started. And you're just clinging on to hope, as we Browns fans usually do, that maybe, just maybe, something will happen, and if we start winning, everything will be all right. That is not the case a lot of time.
I mean, I don't know. And Greg Williams is, as the interim head coach, I think is incredibly ridiculous.
Yes, I want to ask you about that. I don't know anything about Bountygate. I have no idea what this is about. I will gladly ask you to please educate me, because I've heard it over and over. All I can think of is there's something to do with paper towels, and I'm missing out. Okay.
So Bountygate, that happened, I would say it was a good 4 years ago. He was defensive coordinator for the Saints, and he and Sean Payton and Jonathan Vilma, I know, was one of the players involved in it. He was paying his players to go out and make the most brutal hits to take out other players.
Ooh.
Yeah, which is a big no-no.
Yeah.
And so it got found out. And so Sean Payton became like really, I think he was the first coach to be suspended an entire season because of something like this. And then Greg Williams, of all people, he got the hammer thrown at him. He was indefinitely suspended by the league. And he was out for almost 2 years. And then he ended up jumping on with the then St. Louis Rams with Jeff Fisher. And so he was there with them until they moved across the country to LA. And then he left the Rams. I think they told him to leave because I think he's probably poison. Yeah. So he left and then he became defensive coordinator at the Browns. And so look at this success story if you want to spin it that way. This guy goes indefinitely suspended from the NFL and he's interim head coach of the Browns.
Wow.
And he's got half a season to prove himself as a head coach. So who knows what the hell they're going to do? It's just crazy.
There's no way this guy stays on. If there is some way that he is able to, I can tell you right now, it's not looking pretty. I don't know if you've seen who we've got this coming Sunday.
Oh, you guys are going to get murdered by Patrick Mahomes.
It's going to be bad. We're going to be begging for mercy. We're begging for the bye week, which I think that's in a couple weeks, if I remember correctly.
I think so.
Yet, so.
No, you haven't.
Okay, let's get off the Browns
let's get off the Browns.
Run off into traffic. I want to talk to you about why go luck yourself. You're a Steelers fan. Tell me why.
Okay, so every year I try and come up with funny team names that revolve around the NFL. So even though this Pick'em group, it really isn't like my fantasy football team, I just thought it was funny. So instead of saying go F yourself, you're saying go luck yourself. So I'm in 3 fantasy football leagues. I'm in a Cover 5 league at work, and then I'm in your Pick'em league. And so one of my teams is also named Go Luck Yourself.
Nice.
And then my team name for work, because you got to be, PC for work.
That's right.
I'm Good Juju, so Juju Smith-Schuster. And then my other league that I'm in, it's a bunch of people that I used to work with at the radio station I worked at. So, we played alternative music. So I took Radiohead's Karma Police. So I'm Kamara Police. So I try and be clever. Sometimes I'm totally inappropriate. Like, okay, remember when Chris Henry from the Bengals died?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so because by that point in that season, my team had already they were hot garbage. I picked up Chris Henry and I put him on my bench the rest of the season, even though he had passed away. And I named my team Chris Henry Stunt Club.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I am a horrible, horrible human being. So last year, I'm trying to remember. This is another horrible thing. I was hanging Hernandez's because it was right after Aaron Hernandez had killed himself in prison. Yeah. And then the work league, I was Ladies and Edelman. So, you're still being funny, but still being sweet and nice because I'm the only girl in the work league. Yeah.
Nice. Nice. Well,
so that's where the names come from.
I like it. I thought for a second that you were like this huge Andrew Luck fan, and I
do like Andrew Luck though.
Okay. All right. Well, he's a decent dude. I mean, I've always said that as far as second teams go, if it's not Cleveland, it's definitely Indianapolis. And I've loved Peyton Manning. I think that was the reason why and man, when he went to the Broncos, you want to talk about conflicted.
Oh, no kidding. You a Browns fan?
I didn't know what to do, but I wanted to see him win. I wanted to see him lose. Because he's wearing those stupid colors, and then we got to see up in the box, old horse teeth. Anyway. John Elway, damn it.
John Elway.
So, okay, let's talk. Do you have anything off the cuff, NFL news that you'd like to discuss?
Yeah, well, I mean, the trade deadline was this week. Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, there was that fire sale in Oakland. I mean, they don't even know where they're going to be playing next season because their lease has not been renewed in Oakland, and their stadium in Vegas isn't going to be ready until the 2020 season. So they might not have a real place to play next season, but they're going to have a lot of draft picks.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't looked to see how many this guy's racked up. I know.
You've got that Khalil Mack trade to the Bears before the season started, and that netted him 2 first-round picks. And then they traded Amari Cooper to Dallas, which he also got a first-round pick for, which Amari Cooper is not worth a first-round pick. So, I mean, he's planning for the future while he's burning down Oakland. And then you look at the Eagles situation. I mean, they lost Jay Ajayi earlier on for the entire season. And so they get from the Lions, they get Golden Tate, which to quote the league is my favorite breakfast cereal. Which, I mean, they really needed somebody. So, I mean, good for Carson Wentz. And honestly, I think the Eagles brought Carson Wentz back too soon. I don't think that there was really any problem with Nick Foles doing what he was doing. But I think the Eagles, after last week's game in London against who was it? It wasn't the Panthers, it was the Jags.
Yeah.
I think once they get past their bye this week and they get into the second half of their season, I think things are going to start turning around for them, because that NFC East is just not good.
No, it's not. It is not.
So there was that. And then Demaryius Thomas being traded, which I think it was evident that Emmanuel Sanders is becoming the number 1 wide receiver in Denver. And so Demaryius Thomas, who used to be, the king of the world when he played with Peyton Manning, gets traded to the Texans, which is funny because the Texans travel to Denver this weekend to play the Broncos.
That's right.
Yeah.
That is so right. I remember. It'll be interesting. I mean, he's going to be going right back to the same place he just left. I really like Deshaun Watson.
I do too.
I think that last year's performance before he got that injury was I could see him almost breaking so many records, but then he had that tore his ACL or something.
ACL.
Yeah. So the more weapons that he has, I think the better that he is definitely going to be able to perform. So hopefully they didn't lose last week, did they?
No, they played the Thursday night game, and he had been hurt. He had a punctured lung, and so
he was taking hits. That's right.
Yes.
Yeah, he was taking some bad hits.
His offensive line needs work, but because he wasn't able to run like he had been. And so they drove from Houston to Jacksonville, and it took like 25 hours total for him to ride on this bus because they were afraid of putting him on a plane with his lung. And so they played Thursday night last week. I started him last week. They played Miami.
That's right.
Yeah. So they won 42-23, and he had 5 touchdown passes. He and DeAndre Hopkins finally look like they're back in sync. You've got Will Fuller, who was amazing, and then he goes down with an ACL, and he's out the rest of the season now. So I don't know. It's just the NFL. I love it because it's like, you can have these amazing weeks, and then the next week you're done for the rest of the year.
Yeah. Well, one of the dark subjects that I'm sure that you don't want to talk about, Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah.
Why don't you go ahead and tell us all about it?
He can stay home.
Not a fan, huh?
Well, no. The thing that I think is really funny is that he still hasn't reported. And the thing is if he had reported prior to the trade deadline, he could have been on the auction block.
Oh, okay.
But
all right.
He didn't. So I don't know if he has to show up. And I think it's by, I want to say week 11 or 12. And if he doesn't show up by then the Steelers can turn right back around and franchise tag him again for next season. And nobody wants that. James Conner is a beast. Let's just stick with James Conner.
Yeah, he's
did. Third in the NFL in rushing for the season. Let him go. I mean, bring Le'Veon back. If he wants to play, he can play. But I just keep handing it off to James Conner.
Does he have a lot? Do you have a lot of money tied up with this guy? I mean, is there?
I don't think so.
I mean, I don't know if you guys have any.
They signed him, and when you do that franchise tag, it's the average of like the top 10 running backs in the NFL. It's that average salary for a year, which I think it was like $14 million. But the thing is, since he hasn't been reporting, he hasn't been getting paid. So all of this money that he has not been receiving, it goes back into the Steelers cap space, which
that's nice.
Which is nice.
Yeah.
So God love him. He's an amazing running back. He's just, I don't know what he's thinking. And he still says that he wants to retire a Steeler. Steeler, but you're really not making the case for yourself there, buddy.
Yeah. Is he trying to like take a stand for running backs in the future? Is that his motivation here?
I think the thing is with running backs is that it sounds really bad, but they're a dime a dozen.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look at James Conner. James Conner coming out of college, he played for Pitt in the same stadium the Steelers play in. He is a wonderful, his story is amazing because he had cancer. He beat cancer. The whole city rallied around him. He was a decent player in college, but he wasn't like really, really, really exceptional. And so they picked him up. I think he was a 3rd-round pick last year. And obviously he played behind Le'Veon last season. And then now they're like, well, we need to lean on you. And he's proven himself.
Yeah, he has. He's earned that spot, and I'd hate to see him. I'd hate to see him get put to the sat on the back burner because you're right. He has been a very impressive addition. Or what they you didn't know what to expect with this guy. Was he going to perform or was he not? And wow, very very surprising in my opinion. It's nice to hear the story number one, and the fact that he's able to produce. It just stinks that he's on the Steelers, but that's okay. So, let me just real quick. We'll quickly turn to how you did this past week.
I'm proud of myself from this past week. Listen, I can't believe someone went perfect.
Yes, you come into this league. First off, I don't know how. I can't remember. Did I put it out there and you saw it?
You put it on Facebook, and
okay.
I had been a part of a league, and they decided they didn't want to do it anymore, and I was really sad.
Is it was it the same format?
Yeah, it was confidence points, and then you put in who the tiebreaker scores, and then who's going to score the most, who's going to score the least.
Okay.
Yeah, it was the exact same format.
Very good. Well, so you messaged or left a comment on there talking about how you were going to whip my ass or something along those lines.
Yeah, that's true. And I am.
I can't really say anything different is happening right now. I'm currently in like 8th, I think. Wait a second. No.
Yes,
I'm in 7th.
You're 7th.
Right above our good buddy Diesel Dave. Thug and Harmony. Yep. So what am I, like 6 points ahead of him? Yeah. It's right now 6 points ahead. So, but you come in here and you take first place in the overall right now. And I really don't like it because
not sorry.
This is my house. Okay? You've come into my house. My house that I have built over 10 years of doing this. You come in and you say, I'm coming in and I'm going to destroy you in your house. Yeah. You're doing it so far. So congratulations. Yes. What did you do? You came in 4th?
I was 2nd. For 4th for the week, I think.
Okay. Okay.
I lost 4 points on 2 games, so I'll take that.
Yeah, that ain't bad at all. It was.
No.
I'm very surprised at how easy apparently the week was for a lot of people. I didn't exactly expect that. I tried my best. I get 93. You outscore me by 8 with 101. And then, like we said, the perfect storm comes in here, gets first place.
I know, 105 points.
Perfect week. That's kind of rare. So, what's your experience so far? You having a good time?
Oh, I love it.
Okay, cool. I'm glad you found at least some place to go and play Pick'em with confidence weights, and it's okay if you want to go ahead and skip a week though next week.
Yeah, that's not happening. I've already made my picks are already locked in. I made them last night. Although this week coming up, I think is going to be the hardest week, and I think I might fall. I might fall to second place. It's this and Sunday night's game. My husband is a massive Walking Dead fan, and I said, if you're a Walking Dead fan and a football fan, you're gonna have a hell of a time trying to decide what you're gonna watch Sunday night because Andrew Lincoln is leaving The Walking Dead, so by Rick Grimes, and then you've got Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers facing off against each other at 8:00. Holy crap! How are you not gonna miss that game?
Exactly.
So,
it's going to be a good one.
It's all right. Well, really good.
Let's skyrocket. I know you got a limited time, so here's what we're going to do.
Okay.
We're going to run down some Steelers trivia. All right.
Okay.
I have no idea if these questions are hard or not, but I went to the internet to an undisclosed website. And we've got 10 questions.
Oh, boy.
10 questions, and we're going to see how you do.
Okay.
Let me get my pen and paper. Here we go. Number 1. After the 2006 season, which Steeler head coach stepped down after 15 seasons?
Bill Cowher.
That is correct. That's 1 point. Number 2, when this running back retired, he was at the head of the Steeler class with 11,950 yards rushing. Who was this back who wore the number 32?
Franco Harris.
Good job. This is actually multiple choice, believe it or not.
Oh.
So far, you're doing pretty good. Okay, the Steelers ruled the NFL in the 1970s by winning 4 Super Bowls. Which team did they defeat twice in the big one in that decade?
I believe it was the Cowboys.
That is correct.
That
is correct. The Pittsburgh franchise, question number 4. The Pittsburgh franchise began in the NFL in 1933 under what name? And I will go ahead and read those to you unless you know that one right off the top of your head.
They were the Pirates, weren't they?
Damn, girl. Okay, here we go. Number 5. In 1975, which defensive back set a team record for an amazing 11 interceptions in the season? And those choices are Mel Renfro, Lester Hayes, Mel Blount, or Eddie Meador.
This is a hard one. I'm going to say Mel Blount.
Mel Blount was another loyal and career Steeler. He played for 14 seasons from 1970 to 1983. Mel helped the Steelers to 4 Super Bowl wins and was a 5-time Pro Bowler. That is correct.
Yes.
All right, number 6. One of the worst seasons in the Steelers' history came in 1969 when they won only 1 game in the season. Which team was the victim of their only victories? 1969.
Okay.
Here's your options. You have the Oakland Raiders, the Minnesota Vikings, the Kansas City Chiefs, or the Detroit Lions.
I'm going to say the Raiders. I'm sure it's wrong.
That's what I went with. The correct answer, though, is the Detroit Lions.
Oh.
The other teams all went to a championship game in the season and would have been embarrassed had they been the victim. The Steelers opened the 1969 season with an impressive 16-13 win over the Lions. Then things fell apart. The Steelers were trying to turn things around after not coming up with a win in their last 6 games of the 1968 season. Okay, so you just missed one so far. We got 4 more to go, I believe. Okay. So question number 7. Which of the following Steeler running backs set a team record for most yards rushing in a season with 1,690 yards in 1992? Your options are Jerome Bettis, Bam Morris, Franco Harris, or Barry Foster. 92.
Well, it's not Franco Harris.
Okay.
And that was before Jerome Bettis.
Okay.
Who were the other 2?
The other 2 were Barry Foster and Bam Morris.
I'm going to say Barry Foster.
Barry Foster is correct. He ran for his career high in 1992. Bettis' season high was 1665 in 97. Harris rushed for 1186 in 1989. And finally, Bam Morris, who played in only 2 Steeler seasons, had a career high of 836 yards. All right, here we go.
Okay.
Question number 8. When this wide receiver left, he had the team's season record of 1,398 receiving yards, breaking John Stallworth's record. Who was this 6-season Steeler? And your options are Yancey Thigpen, J.R. Wilburn, Lynn Swann, or Louis Lips.
I'm going to say it was Yancey Thigpen.
Oh, my goodness. You are correct. Yancey Thigpen is the correct answer. All right, here we go. Question number 9. You're at 7 out of 8 7 out of 8 so far.
I'll take it.
Yeah. In almost 75 years of the Pittsburgh franchise, the team saw a tremendous season going 15-1. Which of the following seasons was this? 1988, 1941, 1969, or 2004?
It was 2004.
And the correct answer
Patriots.
is 2004 Pittsburgh Steelers.
Because they always make it to the AFC Championship and then they lose their freaking Patriots. Yeah, that's what it was.
Last sentence is the Steelers went on to lose the AFC Championship game to the Patriots 41-27.
You sure it doesn't say freaking Patriots? Because it should.
All right, one more. Here we go.
Okay.
Which Steeler quarterback set a team record for throwing 28 touchdowns in a season? Your options are Mike Tomczak, Terry Bradshaw, Tommy Maddox, or Neil O'Donnell.
28.
Team record. I don't know when this was made. This quiz was no date on it, so I don't know if Big Ben's destroyed that or not.
No. He probably threw 28 interceptions. Sorry. Here's a fun fact. I hate Ben Roethlisberger. He's a garbage human being, and the only quarterback I love is Aaron Rodgers. Okay, I'm just gonna say my guy Terry Bradshaw.
Oh my goodness, 9 out of 10. Good job. Tremendous. Nice turnout right there. Terry Bradshaw. The others listed never threw more than 20 as a Steeler. Bradshaw was a career Steeler from 1970 to 1983. His 28 touchdown passes in 1978 still saw him fall short of 3,000 season passing yards. In 1979, though, he threw for 26 TDs and 3,724 passing yards. Let's take a real quick look at your lock and your upset for the week, and then we'll get you on out of here. So let me pull up the schedule. I have a feeling that I know what your lock's going to be, unless there's something else glaringly.
I'm not going to go that easy.
You're not?
No,
Okay.
That's too easy of a lock. It is. Here's a side bet. Yes, the Chiefs are going to beat the Browns. Okay. Let's move on from there.
I want to say the 49ers over the Raiders.
Okay, well, fun fact, that happened last night.
Oh, that happened. Wait a second. She got her lock already. It's crazy.
Look at me. I'm Nostradamus. No, I think the lock of the week is Carolina, Tampa Bay. I mean, come on.
Carolina, Tampa Bay. Fitzmagic's running out. I know Jameis is a hot mess, but after last week, seeing what the what the Panthers did to that Baltimore defense, which has been really good, there's no way that Carolina is going to be losing this game. Okay, Carolina Panthers.
I would take that to the proverbial bank. And then, let's see, upset of the week. Oh, man.
It's tough. And then we don't go by lines or spreads or anything like that.
I know. And I'm just like looking, and it's like, you know what? Well, no, because Seattle, they're coming back. But I still think the Chargers are going to beat them.
If you were to say Aaron Rodgers and the Packers over the Patriots, I'd almost feel like that.
That would be an upset of the week, but I'm taking New England on that all the way.
Okay. All right.
Let's do Washington over Atlanta.
Washington over Atlanta. I think that's a pretty good upset. Both teams, I don't know. I mean,
it's showing is like pretty much even, with Washington coming out slightly ahead. I mean, Washington just got Clinton Dix from the Packers too.
Mm-hmm.
But Matt Ryan is like killing it from a fantasy football quarterback standpoint. The Falcons aren't that great this season, but Matt Ryan is like throwing it like crazy. But poor Julio Jones still doesn't have a touchdown pass.
That dude, all those yards, not a TD, just not a TD in sight.
Because I have him in one of my leagues, and it's just like, come on, dude, catch a touchdown pass.
No kidding.
But yeah, I'd say Washington over Atlanta.
All right. Well, I know one previous guest, NFL Super Pro, will be ecstatic that you took the Redskins over the Falcons. That is great. All right. Well, it has been a slice of heaven here.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for coming on here. Do you have anything you'd like to plug?
Not really. If you want to find me on the Facebooks, it's at GenCD101. I post random things about sports, and sometimes I post pictures of me hanging out with the Golick family.
Yeah, tell me why you've been adopted, right?
I think so. I'm going to say I've been adopted by the Golick family. They don't know it, but I'm going to say it. No, we've been fortunate in Columbus to have had Mike and Mike came here. It was like 3 years ago, before Ohio State, Michigan State. And so me and a few friends stumbled down there, and I made a sign. Mike Golick hugged me, which is what I wanted. I got pictures. And then it was about a month ago, Golick and Wingo came into town for their fall football tour, and they were down at the Hofbräu House, and me and friends get down there really early, and I was wearing a shirt from the Dan Le Batard show because that's my favorite thing in the world. And so those guys know the Dan Le Batard show guys. And so they saw my shirt and they were taking pictures with us and they called the guys on the show. And it was just like the best thing ever. And so, yeah, we got to hang out. And then at the end, they do this thing where you take a shot on a ski. So there are 4 people who are taking shots on a ski at the same time.
Okay, hold on. Taking shots, as in like with alcohol or something?
As in alcohol, yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, so by this point, I had already had 2 massive steins of beer, and it was like 10:30 in the morning. And so it was me, it was this guy Clint, who me and my friends made friends with in line, and then it was Golick and Wingo, and then Golick Jr. was standing behind us, and so I did a shot with them, and then I went to do another shot, and it was Golick, Wingo, Golick Jr. and me, and the guys didn't duck down. They're very tall men, and I'm
Yes,
short.
they are. Yes, there's a bit of a difference.
So I didn't drink it, I wore it.
Oh, no. Well, they gave you a hug.
It was fun.
I was going to say, they gave you a hug after that.
And high fives and
Awesome.
pictures, and I love those guys. So
okay, well, Jen, again, thank you very much for coming on here and hanging out with me.
Thanks, Starcher.
We will be doing this again here before the season ends, that's for sure.
Yes,
all right?
please. Yes.
And now it's time for the Pigskin Pick'em Week 8 results.
Taking a look at the week, one person scored in the 60s, and that was last place, SBP Ronnie, who had scored 64 points. Now, 14th and 13th, we have 2 in the 70-point range. Separated by 2 points sits Hobo Samurai with 75 and Mammal Cat with 77. 12th and 11th are those who scored in the 80s, and that's Dwayne Williams with 86 and Sawin with 1 point more at 87. 10th through 5th are the 90s, only separated by a total of 7 points altogether. Running them down, we have Totally 80s Pat, Wilvis, Stizzy, Stompers, Freebird, Steel Curtain, and NFL Super Pro. Now, NFL Super Pro had a smart 3 points on Seattle, while everyone else in that group took a bath taking Detroit. And the top 4 of the week include our players that breached the 100-point mark, only separated by 4 points total and only missing 2 games or less. Go Luck Yourself in 4th with 101 points, a tie for 2nd between Raider Nation and Thug and Harmony at 102, and a rarity indeed in 1st place, The Perfect Storm, or as he will be known this week, The Perfect Storm, did not miss a game and scored 105 points. Congratulations, sir. Now, on to the overall. It appears that SBP Ronnie remains in 15th spot, unmoving for the week, and the bad showing for Week 8 did not help him any. Hobo Samurai and Freebird continue to play leapfrog as Hobo dropped a spot to 14th and Freebird advances to 13th, now ahead by 17 points. Raider Nation in 12th is closing the gap on 11th place Sawin, and only 18 points are between them. Dropping a spot apiece, 10th place Mammal Cat and 9th place Dwayne Williams were outscored by our biggest mover of the week, Thug and Harmony, who rocketed from 10th to 8th, now only 7 points behind 7th spot Stizzy Stompers. NFL Super Pro did well this week, but not well enough to keep from losing his top 5 spot to the Perfect Storm's perfect week. 4th place, Steel Curtain, and 3rd place, Totally 80s Pat, remain where they were last week. Steel Curtain now only behind by 10 points. And we have a new leader this week as Wilvis slips from 1st into 2nd place, relinquishing the throne to this week's guest. Go Luck Yourself, who is now ahead by 7 points. Congratulations. A quick look at the close races that are 10 points or less on the board. 9th through 7th are right now separated by 10 points. 6th through 4th are separated by a mere 6 points. 4th and 3rd place are separated by 10, and 3rd through 1st are separated by 10 points. There's still some close races out there, and we may be seeing the 16-point games come back around soon, so be ready, because if you're behind, you can still have the opportunity to make up some ground. All right, so that is it this week, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, we will be coming back at you for Week 9. You be ready for the Pigskin Pick'em 2018 Roundup next week. We'll be talking to you then. Everyone, good luck and have a great weekend. Bye-bye.